What's up, guys? Master here doing a third place deck profile from who?
Anthony Canal.
Oh, you guys know him. What the hell? Anyway, and so what'd you end up playing today?
We played Marincess.
And how'd you do?
I went X1, lost to the winner. Went game 3 and just got into a top deck war and just couldn't top deck anything good.
That sucks. Yeah, I lost to him as well in the finals and got bumped down to 4th. So if you guys want to see deck profile, yeah, let me know. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started.
Okay, so I actually did a different kind of deck building than I normally do, so I'm going to talk about it in that way instead. So the first thing I did is I wanted cards that would actually start my plays. So the first thing I did is there is 3 Marincess Blue Tang. This is likely the best card in your deck because it starts your play. When it gets summoned, normal or special, you dump a Marincess card to your grave, then you can link it off, add that Marincess card to your hand, and then it excavates 3 cards. And if there's Marincess, you get a card there, so you already get +1. From there, you can probably pop off and get a link 3 no matter what. Combined with that, our next starter card is Silent Mining. So I'm not going to do it by Monster Spawn Trap. Instead, I'm going to do it by cards that start my play, cards that extend my play, and then my defensive cards. Silent Mining, everyone knows it, adds a Cyberse. All the Marincess cards are Cyberse, so they do everything you want. Next card, 3 Marincess Seahorse, the original starter from previous Rising Rampage. This is the automatic link 3. So what you can do is if you normal summon her, you can dump the Seahorse and then link her off. The Seahorse comes back to your hand, and then from there you can make your link 3. That's the big thing with her. And then along with that, we run 3 Frogs. They can also get you to link 3. That's our wing condition, trying to get to Marincess Marbled Rock. Frog with any water in your hand automatically gets you a link 3. It'd also get you a Toad if you have any other thing. We also run a Pot of Desires. That's our worst card. It can also act as an extending card. So if I have any of these other 12, I can use this as an extender and get even further into my plays. Once I've already got my Toad out, it's everything run at multiples. Along with that, now we're going to go to extenders. So if I have a card like this is furthering my plays. So I run a thing called White Stingray.
I have seen this in a few lists for TCG. What does it do?
So it's a frog. You can discard a water to special summon it. So it's an inherent summon, so it's not an effect, so it can't be negated there. That's all you care about because you just want the level 4. It does have an effect that if it gets summoned from the grave, it becomes a tuner, but I don't run any synchros, so it doesn't matter. All I'm caring about is the rank 4 because it plus Blue Tang in your hand is an automatic monster that's unaffected by card effects and an Abyss Dweller on your field. We run 3 Marincess Mandarin. So this is if you have any way to get to Seahorse and Blue Tang, you dump this to your grave instead, and this gets to a level, a link 3, unaffected by card effects, plus likely a couple other disruptions as well. And then our next 3 extenders, we run 1 Arborea, 1 Sea Archiver, and 1 Foolish Burial. So you have to run 1 Foolish Burial. I've tossed around the idea of running 2 Arborea or 2 Archiver. What I've found, though, is if I have 2 Archiver, one of them will so often brick in my hand and I can't really use it. And then if I have 2 Arborea, sometimes I can't get a Link monster out, and so there's no reason to have it. Archiver is really good at searching. Arborea is probably the better of the 2, and if I were to cut, I'd probably cut the Archiver, but I can search it, so it's a little better. It's okay there. And then finally, I run a Monster Reborn just for an extra extension, especially if I get Nibiru. You just go, okay, whatever, Monster Reborn, bring it back. And Mandatory Toad. So that's all for the cards that actually start your plays. It is 21 cards, I believe, to start your plays. Might be a little less.
You said start and extend, right?
Start and extend, yeah. Most of these cards, if you draw any of them, you can normally get to a link 2, and if not that, link 3. Now we go into our defensive cards. There is a ridiculous amount of them because I haven't found things that just automatically win me the game if I can play them yet. So I run 2 Ash Blossom, and just 2. The third has come up where it's like I don't want 3 in my hand. I'd rather have another water in my hand instead. So I do that. This card, though, is really nice. It is Infinite Impermanence. Not budget. This deck is not budget, if anyone has realized that yet. Good going first or second. While you do have an in-archetype Marincess Wave, in-archetype Infinite Impermanence, it only works if you have a link 3, so on your opponent's turn you can't activate Marincess Wave, which can be an issue sometimes. But to go with that, we have 3 wave. So this card, if you activate it, if you have a link 3 on your field, you can activate it from your hand. And when it gets activated, it negates 1 card on the field. And if you have a link 2 or higher, all your monsters are unaffected by your opponent's card effects for the rest of the turn. So that's all. It's really good, but I'd rather have an impermanence in my hand and then search the wave. I run 2 Judgment. This is to prevent against Cosmic Cyclone and Twin Twister, and sometimes it can help against like normal summon heavy decks, so like a Solomon Great deck. Judgment the monster. They're probably dead. We run 2 Called by the Grave. I like a lot of things in 2 right now. It just helps with clogging. We run 2 Cosmic Cyclone. That's spell and trap removal. I was running Galaxy Cyclone for a while, just because it went well with Signet Mining, but I found that Dingirsu is a really good card. And then finally, we run 2 Marincess Battle Ocean. This is the only spell in the whole deck, the only Marincess spell in the whole deck. They haven't printed anymore, even though you have a card that searches it. This card, if you link with a link 2 that I'll point out, it makes your Marincess monster unaffected by card effects, just any card effect. And it gives a 200 attack boost, and then it can equip up to 3 link monsters to it and give it a 600 boost for each of those. So that's all the defensive cards. I really want a card. I'll focus on them later. I'll talk about that afterwards. For the extra deck, we'll do the Xyz first. I just have 2 Xyz. 1 Toad, 1 Abyss Dweller. I've seen people run 3 Toad. I've seen people run 2 Toad. What ends up happening is you never need a second Toad. If you're using a second Toad, you're probably in a losing situation, and you are just not going to have a good time. Along with that, we run 2 Blue Slug. I might run a 3rd, but I've never really needed it in the grind. If you're just smart with your resources, you always have a Blue Slug in your extra deck. We run 1 Marincess Sea Angel. This is card. It can search any Marincess spell card in the whole deck. Funny thing, there's only 1 spell printed, so it's an indicator that they're going to print more. That's what I'm viewing it as. 1 Miss Starboy for OTKs. This is the card, Marincess Crystal Heart. If you link with this into a Marincess card, it is unaffected by card effects. I won a couple games just because they're like, that's annoying, can't touch that. This is the best card. If I were to bump something up, I would probably bump this up to 3. Link 2, any 2 waters can make it, so it works in any kind of water deck. Pillow Frog, Entane Mermail, and Marincess all love this card. If there's a monster with 1500 or less attack in your grave, you can special summon it to anything this points to. And then if it leaves the field, you get to add a Marincess card to your hand, so you can add the wave. Then we run our boss monster. This is our win condition of the whole deck, Marincess Marbled Rock. When the field spell activates with it, it becomes a unaffected monster with 4,500 attack. And then if you have a Marincess card in your hand, you can prevent it from being destroyed by battle. So
it's a towers.
It's a towers. And then it can't be destroyed by battle either, though.
Busted. Next.
So these cards are all up, so this link 4, Marincess Wonderheart. This is your OTKer. So if you're going first, you summon this. If you're going second, you try and make this, because this thing, when it has things equipped to it, can special summon them out, and you have a stupid amount of damage. It's like 6,000 damage, and then you just need to find a way to get, like, I think it's 1,800 more to get full 8k. Mm-hmm. Then the last 3 cards are just space filler. The ones I like, Borreload, because Crusadia Avermax is really good and you don't like dealing with it. Boral Sword for OTKs on turns 3, 4, 5, 6. You can make Boral Sword and just kill your opponent. And then an Avermax of my own, because Boral Sword sucks. So yeah, that's the whole extra deck.
And do you want to show us the
side?
The side deck that you
yeah,
played
we
for
can do
today?
the side.
Okay.
So I'm
Look at
really,
this cute mug. Yeah.
I've been really thinking on the side on what I need to put in, and so I'm still debating it. Right now I'm running 2 Nibiru. I've never needed it at 3. I hate drawing it as my 6th card, and that happened twice today. And it was just like, all right, well. So that I don't want to bump it to 3, but I might need to at some point. Combined with that, we run 2 Pank. He's good. But the times I drew him today, he just wasn't enough. So, moving forward, I might need to figure out what to do with him. Our other 3 monsters, just generic kaijus. Water kaijus, Gamsu. You know them. week 1, he's the most expensive normally. So then for traps, normally I'm trying to play first, so people will make me go second, so we run 3 evenly matched. Good against Altergeist, good against True Draco, good against Orcust, somewhat. Anything that puts out a lot of the cards in the field or overextends, this is just a great card. I run 2 Venomiscus, allows me to make my Toad sometimes, but also it's a targeting non-destruction effect, so gets around to Gyarasu, which is a big card. Last one's the Final Judgment, just because. And then these are the 2 spots that I just don't know what I want to run yet. So I ran a compulsory activation device and the 3rd Called by the Grave.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what I do. I like Compulse a lot, and it won me a game today, so I might try and bump it to 2. The Called by the Grave, while I could main deck it, when you run it in multiples in your hand, sometimes it'll break your hand too much that you just won't have any starters or extenders, and you'll just be stuck with, like, alright, set 3 pass. And then if your opponent has any way to get past 2 Called by the Graves that happened to me last week, you're just going to die. So, that's a little extra deck.
Alrighty.
Or not the extra deck, the side deck.
Yeah. So any last comments about your matches that you learned upon?
Windowlock sucks. My only out to that and Vanity's Fiend is Infinite Impermanence. I have yet to draw that when I have that. What I have learned is potentially I want to find the thing I need right now is I have extenders, starters, and defensive cards, but I don't have anything that like just automatically wins me the game. Like if you're playing against Sky Striker, you have a bomb called Imperial Order. You flip that, you win the game. I haven't found a card yet that really helps Marincess just go, okay, I win now. And that's their biggest problem. They have good control, they have good starting, they just don't have like the finish to make sure that they just win the game that turn. So if your opponent can, if you leave your opponent with 100 life points, they can just absolutely come back and just wreck you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Alright, well, thank you for 3rd place. Sorry. 3rd place sacrifice.
Whatever, man.
And I hope to see you more on the channel. Comment, subscribe. Catch you guys later.
Yeah.